my name is Alani Sugar, and today we will be discussing the very basics of the mandolin. So let's get started. The first thing I want to talk about is how to first set up your mandolin when you get it. So the first thing you're going to want to do is talk about the strap. So you don't need a strap in order to play the mandolin, but a lot of people have one, and it helps for if you want to play standing up. If you're playing just sitting down, then the mandolin can rest in your lap and there's no problem there. So if you're going to use a strap, here's the one I have. It's very helpful to have one that can be adjusted. So if it has this kind of clasp that can be moved, that is super helpful. So you're gonna find that one end of your strap should have a little button, a hole for a button, and the other end should have this kind of loop thing. So if you have a mandolin like mine, this one is called an A style, and you'll notice it doesn't have a scroll here, it's just kind of smooth. If yours is an A style, then you can set it up exactly like mine. If yours is an F style, I will tell you how you can set up your strap. It'll be a little bit different, but basically the same. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to start from this loop end, okay, and you're going to connect the loop end to the top, to the headstock of your mandolin. If you have an F-style mandolin, if you have one that has a scroll, then you can actually, and this is a little bit easier, you can just loop this loop here onto the scroll and it will hold on from there. If you have an A-style mandolin like me, you're going to want to first put the loop here through the strings on the headstock, so on the upper side of the nut here, the side of the headstock. You're going to put this loop end under the end of the strings. So let me do that and show you. So as I'm pushing this through here, it's going to be a little bit tight if your strings are on here fully to tension. It could be easier to try and put the strap on while you're in the process of replacing the strings, but I'm not right now, and so it's totally doable to just kind of finagle this through here with the strings at full tension. So just wanted to show you that you can do that. So once you get this all the way through, you're going to kind of pull it till you have this loop on the other side, and take this other end of the strap and put it through the loop end of the strap, and pull it all the way through, and then you want to just pull it tight. So what you have now is this loop, the strap connected here with this loop. The second step is to get to the button end, and the button is going to connect here to the end of the button on the mandolin. You want to make sure that it's not too twisted also. Make sure you have the strap straight and connect that here onto the loop end. Okay, and so that is how you connect your strap. When you're adjusting your strap, you want, well, first of all, when you're wearing the strap, you want to put it over your shoulder, over your right shoulder, and over your head. And if you have an adjustable strap, which is what I would recommend, you want to adjust it so that when you're playing sitting down and standing up, the mandolin sits in the same spot. So you don't want it to go lower when you're standing up, and you also don't want it to be kind of floating somewhere in, here. You want it to be sitting on your lap when you're sitting down. Okay, so now let's talk about how to hold the mandolin. So when you're holding the mandolin, you have a lot of options in terms of angles. If you want it to be, if you want the neck to be at a, parallel to the ground, or if you want it to be really high angle, I usually go for something right in the middle, about a 45-degree angle. And when I'm holding the mandolin with my left hand, I tend to go about, I tend to attack the strings about at a 45-degree angle as well. So I'm not here either, kind of in the middle. For me, this is the best way to reach all of the strings and to reach all the way up to, the 5th or the 7th fret while staying in first position. Okay. Now, let's talk a little bit about the pick hand and the pick. So, this is the pick I use. It's called a Dunlop prime tone pick, and it used to have a little logo here that I kind of rubbed off after using it for a while, but this is a 1.5 millimeter pick. It's a pretty thick pick, and if you try to bend it, it doesn't really go anywhere. So you kind of want, for bluegrass at least, a lot of bluegrass and old time and Irish style, maybe not Irish style, but definitely bluegrass and old time style, mandolin players use a thicker pick. The Dunlop is a great option. There's also blue chip picks, which are a lot more expensive, but they're some of the best picks out there. The way I hold the pick is in between my thumb and my index finger. So if I hold my hand in a fist like this, that's pretty much how I hold it, and I just open up my thumb and my index finger, and I just kind of place the pick in there. And you're going to want to play around with it a little bit, figure out what works for you. But I do it like this, and so that one of the points is kind of going straight out, even slightly angled down, maybe, from here, let's see if I can get it to focus. Yeah, there you go, in my hand here. And so when I go to play any notes, the point is going pretty much right at the strings. When I'm playing, I try to use a lot of wrist and a little bit of arm. This is the motion that I'm going for when I'm picking. And that's how I get a pretty good tone that way. So now let's talk briefly about the open strings. So the open strings we have on the mandolin are the lowest string is G as in goat. That's the lowest pitched string. It's the highest from the ground. The next highest string, when I talk about high and low, I'm talking about pitch. So the next highest string is the D string. The note is D. The next one is A, and the highest one is E. So one good way to remember that is with the word g'day. G'day, G-D-A-E. And these strings on the mandolin, we have pairs of strings, sets of strings, and you usually refer to them as just one string, although there are two. So you have the G string, even though there are two G strings, and then the D string and the A and the E. You usually play them together, both of the G, both of the Ds, both of the A's, and both of the E's. So that was kind of a quick introduction to the mandolin and just how to start approaching it. The last thing I wanted to talk about was tuning, how to tune the mandolin. So now that you know the names of the open strings, you have to know kind of how to actually go about tuning it. So there are a few different tuning apps or devices that you can use to tune the mandolin. One is a tuner. There's the company Diodario sells a tuner that clips onto the headstock of the mandolin. That's a really great option. Another option is to get an app on your phone which is for tuning. So the way that both of those work is when you play an open string, it will tell you what the note is, and you have to adjust using these tuning pegs, these tuning machines, to get the note as close as you possibly can to the correct note. So on these top tuners, if you turn them to the left, the notes get higher. If you turn them to the right, the note gets lower. And it's the opposite for the bottom strings. If you turn them to the left, the notes get lower, and you turn them to the right, the note gets higher. So you want to use that to get your mandolin tuned as close as you can every single time you pick up the mandolin to practice. So that is all I have for you today. I hope you have a better understanding of how to get started here with the mandolin. Use some of these tips that I've given you today to really work on your technique and get started. I hope you check out some of the other videos on this platform. There are lots of good songs, lots of good techniques, scales to get practicing. And if you feel like you need to watch this video again to review, feel free to rewind and watch it as many times as you need. I hope you also check out some of the live classes here on Take Lessons Live. We've got lots of good stuff all the time, and if you want to work more on these basics of the mandolin, you can hop onto a live class soon, and I will see you there. Bye!